Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. Guys, welcome to a Saturday without any real football. Yes, I know the European Championships are ongoing at this moment in time, but you know what? You miss the Rangers. You miss seeing you miss seeing the boys. You miss the games. You miss the Ibrox atmosphere, which we'll have to wait till the start of September for, as a Green Day sang. When September comes, we finally get to go back to Ibrox after the absolute farcical debacle over, I think farcical's a word, however, debacle over the Steel, which, you know, the other side of the city are currently enjoying themselves, taking the piss, big style out of us. And you know what, there was only one group of people to blame for that, and that is this absolutely amateur shower of a board that run our club. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our youth players and departures, and a player that, you know, we had high expectations for has joined Greenock Morton. We're also going to talk about where we're up to with the Yusuf Kabadayi deal, and some, I think, spurious reports in the media this week regarding the future of Todd Cantwell. And also at the end of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about some great news for Rangers women with Vic Esson agreeing a new contract. But where to start? Well, let's start off with news about Aaron Lyall. Do you remember Aaron Lyall? Someone who, there was very high hopes for Aaron Lyall, wasn't there, that he would, you know, burst into the first team, that he could have an effect for Rangers. Never really got an opportunity though, did he? Never really broke through. Had loan spells, obviously, didn't really have the impact that I think a lot of people were expecting from young Aaron. I think, you know, there's a lot of people thought that, like I said, he could be an impact player in the first team. You know, he could be someone who could do something for this club. I mean, he's 20 years old. You know, he was obviously with our B team. He could play right wing, he could play left wing, he could play as a central midfielder. He played a number of B team games last season. I think he made 21 appearances, including some time on loan as at Airdrie. But Lyall is now moving on. He is joining Greenock Morton, which is a bit sad, I think. You know, like I said, the academy, I suppose, is where that we're going to have a situation where we are going to have to raise money from player sales, that we are going to lose players. That's just what we've got to face in terms of Aaron Lyall. You know, in terms of Rangers itself, he's only made one appearance for the first team. Most of his appearances have been B team appearances, 41 appearances, 15 goals, 3 assists. So he's off to Greenock Morton. An interesting one, really interesting one, obviously, that he hasn't, you know, fulfilled that potential. And I think this is kind of a tale of a lot of the players at this moment in time. I think a lot of it, though, isn't down to perhaps them as much. It's down to the fact that they're just not getting the opportunities that their talent deserves. You know, I think, you know, if you look at some of the other young players that are around at the moment that are knocking on the door, the Paul Nisios, the Bailey Rices, the Cole McKinnons, the Leon Kings, Robbie Frasers of this world. You know, obviously, it's great to see Ross McCausland burst into the first team. It was great to see Robbie Fraser get some games at the end of last season. I thought Robbie was excellent. I thought Robbie, you know, more than acquitted himself. And I hope that Robbie continues to get opportunities next season. Cole McKinnon got a few opportunities. Hope he continues to get chances. There's a lot of, you know, young players coming through that I would love to see get a chance to play. Leighton Grant, Archie Stevens, Paul Nisio, you know, Ishaka Thompson. There's a fair few players there I'd like to see get the opportunity to burst through. Josh Gentles, another one. Now, one player who has been attracting a lot of attention from the Rangers youth set, from the under-18s and the under-21s and obviously the B team, is Archie Stevens. Archie Stevens, young English talent, obviously, who signed for Rangers. A very skillful, very talented player. You know, a player who can, you know, go past the man, creates chances, and has impressed. You know, we did the live stream, didn't we, on the Youth Cup final? I thought he had a very impressive game for Rangers that day. He can play wide right, he can play wide left, and you know, given the fact that we do need wingers, I think, and even if we do go on to sign Yusuf Kabadayi, I think we still need wide players. You know, are we going to see a possibility of Archie Stevens breaking through into the first team? I think he's a player that is well worth looking at. And I think, you know, if you want to counter some of these players like Archie Stevens, then you've got to obviously give them the opportunity to actually have that pathway and actually play at the highest level. Now, there is an awful lot of talk in the media at the moment about Archie and his future. A number of English Championship and Premier League clubs apparently on his trail. this would be a big loss for me because this kid is good. This kid is very good. He's better English talent than Zach Lovelace. He's representing England under 18 level, under 16 level. A very, very talented player. I think he is one that possibly could make that first team breakthrough. I think he could more than acquit himself because, Archie's got something else. Not only has he got the skill and the talent, he's got a bit of the cockiness and the swagger, I think, as well. The lack of fear, the lack of worrying about, what people think, and would just actually go out there and take it to the opposition. He's 18 years old, full of natural talent. Now, according to a number of sources this morning, there are several Premier League and EFL Championship clubs who are interested in Archie Stevens. Now, apparently, previously, Manchester United did show an interest in Stevens. Now, according at this moment in time, teams like Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Leeds United and West Ham are looking to track down Stevens. I think the issue you've got here is that if we can give Stevens a chance and show him that there is a pathway to first team football here, there is a chance to play at least or come off the bench at least in SPL games and actually have a chance to impress, then I think the likelihood of keeping hold of someone like Archie is greatly improved. Now, I know there's a huge law with Premier League money, with English clubs being able to pay their players a substantial amount more, even their young players, a substantial amount more than we can pay them. But, realistically, looking at it, where's he going to get? Is he going to actually get first team football opportunities at Forest? Is he going to get first team opportunities at West Ham, at Leeds, at Wolves? I mean, Leeds he might in the Championship, I suppose. Wolves, West Ham, possibility. Not really not really. More a youth team player, more likely to go into their Premier League 2 teams. But I think we, as a club, I think we're in a position where we can offer these young players, a chance to play, and if we can offer that, there's more chance of keeping hold of them. I think. There is a lot of talk about money in the game and players wanting money and players wanting big wages. But, you look at some of the possible transfers that have come off this summer, and not just for Rangers, but a lot of clubs where players just want to play first team football. And if you can give players first team football, if you can, give them a clear chance that they're going to get that chance to play for the first team, they're more likely to stay with you. And I think, someone like Archie Stevens, who is a prestigious talent coming through, if we can give him the opportunity next season to play first team games, to even if it's just coming off the bench or starting in League Cup games, for example, at the end of the day, for me, that is going to be something that's going to encourage Archie to stay. Now, obviously, I know he's English; he may want to move back south of the border, but he is a professional footballer who wants first team opportunities, and I think he's not going to get those. And also, I know this is a bit of my Rangers blue-eyed goggles on, but Wolves, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Leeds, all smaller clubs, all tiny clubs compared to us. Just I think people underestimate, because we play in Scotland, the size of Rangers. This is one of the biggest clubs in Europe. We dwarf West Ham, we dwarf Forest, we dwarf Wolves, we dwarf Leeds United, who are probably the most arrogant fan base in the world. We really dwarf all those clubs. So I don't get it personally, and I hope he stays around. Okay, so let's move it along now. Let's talk a little bit about Yusuf Kabadayi. Now, there's been a lot of uncertainty surrounding the signing of Yusuf Kabadayi. At one point, it looked like the deal was as good as done, that Kabadayi would be on his way to Glasgow, and it was just down to the medical and everything had been agreed. But the Bayern Munich youngster then apparently was chased by Turkish teams. Rumours that Besiktas were trying to hijack the deal. The player had a very successful loan spell at Schalke. Kabadayi is, another player who very much fits the mold of the players that we are going for this summer. He's a wing, he's a wide player again, which again is something we need. He's quick, he's fast, he's direct, skillful. Did well in Bundesliga 2 last season. Bundesliga 2 is a strong level of competition with the teams like his own Schalke, Hamburg, St. Pauli in that league. So, he is a prestigious talent by all accounts, and someone that Bayern Munich would keep hold of if they had a more of a pathway to the first team for him. But I think that is obviously, as he's seeing it now, not really there in the short-term future, which is something he wants. He wants first team football, and I think he sees there's more opportunity for him getting that at Rangers. Now, those reports were that there was rumours around that there was Turkish teams trying to hijack this deal. Now, obviously, Kabadayi, whilst he is German and represented Germany at youth level, he's from Munich. He has got obviously Turkish descent with the name Yusuf Kabadayi, and his family are Turkish. But apparently there is a preliminary agreement in place between Bayern Munich and Rangers. He scored 29 goals in 78 appearances this past few seasons. His stats for Schalke last season were 5 goals, 0.5 key passes per game, 1.1 successful dribbles per game, 1.6 shots per game, goal conversion rate of 11%, won 3 duels per game. He is a player who has played up first team football there, never played first team football for Bayern, but has played for Schalke. He can play as a centre forward, he can play as a right wing, he can play as a left wing. So again, he's got a great flexibility there, something that Philippe Clement, I know, really does love. So according to reports, there is a £1 million preliminary agreement in place between Bayern and Rangers to secure the transfer. Where that's up to in terms of progressing that beyond that, I'm not 100% sure at this moment in time, but I know a number of Rangers insiders have reported that the deal is close and will get done sooner rather than later, which is encouraging. He's a player who is described as a player who could very much thrive in the Scottish Premiership, and I think people underestimate at times the physicality of German football. I think there is a physicality there to German football. It's not a tippy-tappy league like Spain or a tippy-tappy league like Portugal, or France to some degree. There is a physicality to the Bundesliga if you've ever actually watched Bundesliga games. So I think there's more of a chance of someone like Kabadayi coming from a German background actually stepping up and playing for Rangers next season. Like I said, it does look like this is very, very close now. Like I said, strong, quick on the ball, looks like a good signing to me. So hopefully that will be concluded within the next week or so. So, guys, I'd love you to know, what do you think of the story so far? Let me know what you think of Stevens. Let me know what you think of Aaron Lyall. Let me know what you think of Yusuf Kabadayi in the comments. Now, there's been a lot of reports around this man over the last few days and weeks over Todd Cantwell, his future. Now, I know that, as Sarah and I discussed on the podcast, which I know was a while ago, we kind of discussed, didn't we, that we felt that there was a bit of a breakdown in the relationship at times between, we saw the push that Clement did on Cantwell to push him away from the refs at the final whistle and anger in his face. I think some of that was more down to the fact that he didn't want his player to get into trouble rather than any sort of real anger with Todd Cantwell to some degree. Todd is a top talent. He is a top talent. I personally, I've got a lot of time for Todd. I like Todd as a player. I think he's got a lot of talent. The one frustration for me with Todd Cantwell is the consistent producing of said talent. There are games where you watch him and you just think, wow, absolute first class, absolutely brilliant. The goals that he scores, the assists, the clever passes, the way he runs at players. And then there's other games you just get really, really genuinely very frustrated with him. And I think this is the issue we've got with Todd. I personally would like to keep Todd at the club. I think that it's a right move to keep him at the club. I think that's spot on for me. He needs to stay. We can't get rid of all of our players. He is an experienced player as well, something that I think we're going to need going forward. But there's been talk, hasn't there, in the media about him being sold. Yeah, for me, Todd is a top talent. He really is a top talent. But like I said, there is that frustration. Now, there has been reports in the media around this saying that, Rangers will listen to offers for Todd Cantwell, that, they're prepared to move on from Todd Cantwell. I think this is just speculation, if I'm being honest. I think it's just kind of media putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5, because of the stories at the end of last season, because of, where we are as a club. I mean, on the other hand, I think, to be honest with you, I think everyone's for sale. I think if a substantial bid comes in for any player, that the board will listen. I think there's been talk in the media, hasn't there? 15 million for Butland and the board will listen. 6 million for Ridvan and the board will listen. I think, 3 to 5 million for Cantwell, the board will listen. I think there is some degree of that. And, there is a need, I think, to fund this rebuild. I don't think the board have got a great deal of money. I don't think the board are going to put their hands in their pockets. I think any money that we spend will have to be raised first through player sales. Hopefully Tav and Goldson, the first 2 out the door. But look, I think for me, Cantwell, look, I can see, if an English club comes in with a daft bid for him, say 5 million, then you take it. But I haven't heard any stories about that. I think, the 5 million for Tom Lawrence was a load of crap as well, made up by Football Insider. I think there's a lot of rubbish getting spread around at the moment about our players, about players leaving, players going, players coming. We just got to kind of wait and see, show some patience. But I do think that, that realistically there is a kind of decent offer comes in, the board will listen. Which I think with some players that's wrong. I think there's certain players you should ring fence and say no, not for sale at any price. They're under contract. Jack Butland, Todd Cantwell, for example, been two of those. But look, it is what we are. It is. We perhaps do need to raise that money. It's a very difficult one and a very difficult situation. But I don't think at the moment there is any truth in those Todd Cantwell rumours. Okay, last bit of news today. Rangers experienced women's goalkeeper Vic Esson has signed a new deal for the club. Great news to have Vic for next season and the seasons beyond that. This is the tweet that came out from Rangers women today. Rangers FC Football Club are today delighted to announce that Victoria Esson has signed a contract extension until the summer of 2025. Esson on her new contract said, "I am delighted to sign a new contract. Rangers has been my home for the last few years and I've really enjoyed my 2 years at the club. It's a very exciting time for the club and I hope that we can hit the ground running from the get-go ahead of next season. It's a great group of girls alongside a strong coaching staff. I'm really looking forward to another campaign at Rangers." Great news. I think, Vic is a top talent, top goalkeeper, and the fact that she's staying at Rangers is excellent. There was also Jo Potter commented as well on the deal as well. She stated this as well with Donald Gillies, who is the Women's and Girls Managing Director. I've got to say, I'd never actually heard of him until I actually read this comment. That's perhaps me not keeping up with the women's side of things. Jo Potter said, "Vic has been a highly influential member of the squad over my time. A hugely influential member of the squad, over my time at the club, and it's pleasing that she has signed an extension until next summer. She is part of a highly competitive goalkeeping unit at the club who continue to push each other every day, and I believe her character and temperament will be vital to our ambitions ahead in the forthcoming season." Donald Gillies, who is the Women's and Girls Director, said, "We are delighted that Vic has committed her future to the club ahead of the upcoming season. Her professionalism and dedication to improving every single day is infectious, and she played a vital role in helping the side achieve a cup double last season. Vic leads by example, both on and off the pitch, and we're looking forward to seeing more of her in a Rangers jersey." Well, great news, absolutely great news. Congratulations to Vic Esson. We look forward to seeing more of you next season, Vic. All the very best. Well, guys, obviously, please subscribe to the channel, help us to continue to grow. And obviously, moving forward, tonight, we're hoping to stream the Romania-Belgium game. Mainly picked because I want to see if Yanis gets a game. I want to see how Yanis does. That's why I've chosen it. I'm not a big fan of international football, as you know. But if it gets a means to get to see a bit of Yanis Hadji, it's got to be a bonus, hasn't it? Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. And on the way out, as two things I always ask of you. Number one, smash that like. And number two, remember always, we are the people.